Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, dan salam kebajikan. Good morning and welcome to the opening day of Smart World Innovation Challenge 2022. And first of all, let us bring our praise to the Almighty God for His blessings and guidance so that we can gather here to attend today's event. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Ajin. I'm currently a second year student at University of Malawarman, and I will be your host and moderator for today's event. Before we start our event, I would like to remind all the participants to keep your microphone off during the event. However, you are expected to turn on your camera back to the speakers. I would like to explain regarding our agenda today. The Smarter World Innovation Challenge is an official T20 Impact Business and Engineering Innovation Marketplace, aiming to unlock global digital potential to fulfill meaningful digital connectivity, cybersecurity, and empowerment through the three vision. And moving on to let me explain to the rundown of agenda. First of all, we're gonna have a National Anthem Indonesia Raya session for the first, and then for the second session we have remarks from the top speakers, and the two of the session is also the presentation by our speakers, which will be presented by three of the speakers. The first speaker is from Mr. Danis for talk about deep data in the capital city in digital transformation. For the second session is talking about the fulfilling technology equality and accessibility through the practical application. It will be presented by Mr. Panji Wasmana. And this third session is talking about unlocking rural areas digital transformation, which will be presented by Mr. Fadil Hidayat. So that's going to be all the session of the presentation, and we'll be moving on to the question and answer and the final announcement for the SWIC 2022. And we already have the photo session, and that is going to be the rundown of today's event. So first, before we start the event formally, let's sing the National Anthem Indonesia Raya. Committee will be proceed. All right, thank you for the National Anthem Indonesia Raya. We'll be moving on to the next session. The first opening remarks is going to be presented by T20 Task Force to Indonesia 2022 lead chair for Mr. Suwana Supangkat as Director of Smart Cities and Communities Innovation Center. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Ajrin. Your Excellency, Professor Reni Wira Hadikusuma, Chancellor or Rector of Institute Teknologi Bandung, Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, the lead co-chair of T20 Indonesia, Dr. Laksana Tri Handoko, Head of National Research and Innovation Agency, or in Indonesian language, BRIN, Dr. Bonavicius Wahyu Pujianto, Director of Information Empowerment, Director General of Informatic Application, Indonesia Ministry of Communication and Informatics. Welcome and thank you so much for investing your time with us in this event. I would like also to take this opportunity to give warm welcome to all the distinguished speakers. Mr. Danis M. Sumadilaga, Chairman of Indonesian Engineer Association, PII, and Head of Implementation Task Force for the National Capital Infrastructure Development, or in Indonesian language, IKN. Mr. Panji Wasmana, Director of National Technology Officer at Microsoft. And we are also welcoming all your participants, aspiring students and professionals from all around the world. Good morning and thank you for joining us today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this digital transformation era, the world says young individuals for great innovation and creation to explore unknown boundaries with modern technology that provides unprecedented opportunities. The enormity of all the available information coupled with the ease access to this information is a tremendous opportunity for young people to participate in the development and create meaningful change. Therefore, we are gathered here today, giving this chance for you to take, stand, and do their part in changing the world, smarter world. The Smart City and Community Innovation Center are honored to become the host institution of Task Force SU T20 Indonesia as an official engagement group of G20 Indonesia. As CCIC had the Smarter World Innovation Challenges as an event to encourage the participants of young people to a level where they can contribute meaningfully to creating stability and driving sustainable development in their societies. I believe and hope this event can be the solution to solve the problem that have been aforementioned and can be used as a forum for the younger generation, academics, experts, as well as the government of all other pentahelic elements to collaborate, innovate, and contribute together to respond to the future challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Suwana, for the speech. We're moving on to the next session of opening remarks by Ms. Reni Wirahadikusuma as Rector, Bandung Institute of Technology. For Ms. Reni, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, world-class innovators, aspiring students, and professionals all around the world. First and foremost, I would like to thank Professor Suhono Supangkat and the Smarter World Innovation Challenge Committee for having me here today to welcome young professionals, research centers, think tanks, academic communities, and T20 and G20 community members. I'm honored to welcome Bapak Laksono Trihandoko, the chairman of the National Research and Innovation Agency, or BRIN, and Bapak Ajar Edi, Director Corporate Affairs of Microsoft Indonesia, to this opening day event. Today, We are here to officially open the Smarter World Innovation Challenges 2022. Every year, global stakeholders and the heads of member states gather in an annual summit that connects the world's major developed and emerging economies, the G20. Resonating the G20 spirit, there are three key priority areas during the current Grand Presidency: the global health architecture, digital economy transformation, and energy transition. With the rising concern about these areas' complexity, governments, companies, and organizations are pledging to take significant steps directly and indirectly. However, when the issues spread to a broader audience, urban and rural areas, the digital divide looks to be the main stumbling block. In 2018, about 600 million people did not have access to the internet, which falls well short of the UN SDGs mandated aim of universal coverage. Furthermore, despite metropolitan regions' superior development, megacities face challenges in meeting increased demand for health, energy, and economic fairness. The mega project IKN, or Indonesian New Capital City, is one of the most prominent examples of numerous possible development opportunities to ensure sound construction throughout. Smarter World Innovation Challenges encourage global youth participation in solving these problems through an international innovation competition. They welcome any young people from any country interested in solving issues offered by our case partners in rural and urban areas. This resonates with our vision. At Institut Teknologi Bandung, we are currently putting efforts to achieve our grand vision, ITB 2025, through the adoption of 4.0 education paradigm. ITB embraces the borderless learning process by collaborating with T20, Task Force 2 as the official working group of G20 Presidency 2022. I fully appreciate and support the efforts of collaboration between T20, Task Force 2, ITB, Smart City and Community Innovation Center, and Microsoft Indonesia in accelerating digital transformation fluency in Indonesia. To all global youth who are here to compile their experience and participate in the largest G20 youth competition, your innovation, dreams, and hopes will be heard and seen by all of us. Moreover, ITB gladly invites our students to attend this great opportunity as the extension of our shared responsibility, Tridharma Perguruan Tinggi. Together, let's collaborate and provide impactful solutions through Smarter World Innovation Challenge 2022. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Raini. Next, we'll be moving on to the opening speech by the lead co-chair of T20 Indonesia, for Professor Bagong P.S. Bojonegoro. The floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to all participants, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests. Despite the rapid spread and fast adoption of digital technologies, usage vary among G20 economies by demographic categories, industries, and socio-economic status among citizens. This raises concern about the inclusiveness of the digital transformation. Aside from issues of inclusiveness, There is issue of maintaining the status quo. It is mainly due to the use of outdated technologies that may no longer be supported by their creators. This could create barrier when firms want to integrate old system with new technologies. This issue typically arises when government maintain outdated procurement method instead of actively seeking new technologies. Cybersecurity risk increases as we keep using legacy system or outdated technologies. Lack of updates pose challenges as system is prone to cyber attack or wastefulness. When people fail to keep up with digital transformation, it may drive away emerging talent in digital labor market. Workplace culture tends to be stagnant, creating a barrier to digital transformation. Digital transformation becomes key to change digital status quo. To transform digitally, infrastructure tend to be major challenges. In addition, geography, administrative barrier, regulatory uncertainty, high capital expenditure, and lack of basic infrastructure, such as internet, electricity, can be another barriers. Digital transformation need to be accompanied with guidelines and regulation so that transformation can enhance security, improve efficiency, and address emerging social and organizational challenges. Further investment in digital infrastructure, especially high-speed broadband networks, are therefore essential to support an innovative and inclusive digital in G20 economies. I hope this event can increase public awareness on how digital technology could improve the innovation curve in solving G20's key priority areas, as well as encouraging youth to participate and be part of the largest G20 youth competition. Furthermore, may this event also prompt the governments and companies to involve youth innovation as technology recommendation. Thank you very much for your time. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Bambang, for the speech. We're moving on to the next speakers. Opening speech by the Chairman of National Research and Innovation Agency, for Mr. Laksono Trihandoko. The floor is yours. All right. Because due of the, we're moving on to the next opening remarks, ladies and gentlemen, and all participants. Opening speech by Director of Information Empowerment and Director General Informatics Application, Ministry of Communication and Informatics, Kementerian Kominfo, for Dr. Insinyur Boniface Wahyu Pujianto. The floor is yours. Mr. Boni, the floor is yours. You are coming, sir.
Okay, sorry. Good morning, Your Excellency Professor Suhono, Lead Chair T20 Task Force to G20, Your Excellency Professor Reni Wirahadikusuma, Rector of ITB, Your Excellency Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, Lead Chair, Lead Co-Chair of T20 Indonesia, and distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Let me begin by extending my appreciation to the organizer, a Smarter World Innovation Challenge, initiated by T20 Task Force 2, who had led this event happen. We have the same spirit and encouraging youth, young entrepreneurs to solve rural and urban area problems through digitalization. So this is the theme under the Unleash Global Urban and Rural Digitalization Potential. So from the ComInfo perspective, um, uh, G20 commitment to promote digital economy will be improved by embracing collaboration among innovation players such as startup, tech investors, corporation, academia, and government. So this is very important since the interest of young people in establishing startup as a part of acceleration, the use of technology, encourage the creation of new technological-based innovation. So this can be later become a problem solver in urban and rural area. So next slide, please. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware that technology could not be separated from our life, and many people cannot imagine a life without technology. As the pandemic accelerates the fourth industrial revolution, the internet has been acknowledged as the solution of our constrained mobility. We know digital technology gives significant impact to our life. Unfortunately, lack of access and adeptness has left as one of our challenges. Especially, digital inequality has become more evident. Therefore, it is relevant that we must look after technology disparities by constructing a more resilient infrastructure in order to establish a meaningful connectivity for all and inclusive, empowering, as well as sustainable. So on this note, government of Indonesia has been concentrating also its effort to accelerate digital transformation through implementation of roadmap on Digital Indonesia 2021 until 2024. So this roadmap provides strategic guidance for the Indonesian government to transform into a fully connected digital nation through four pillars, namely digital infrastructure, digital government, digital economy, and digital society. So having said that, through the G20 presidency in 2022, the government of Indonesia seeks to promote a collaborative global recovery through our theme, Recover Together and Recover Stronger. Next slide, please. As a leading sector in digital transformation, ComInfo persistently attempts to assure that affordable internet access is available to all citizens through the deployment of 4G BTS, base transceiver station, in more than 12,500 villages throughout Indonesia. It is to complete 83,000 villages in Indonesia. So, as well as the construction and launch high throughput satellite, we call it Satria 1, and a hot backup satellite with the capacity of 2 times of 150 gigabit per second next year in 2023. This is to proliferate internet access to almost 150,000 public facility nationwide. Next slide, please. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, to enhance people digital readiness, so ComInfo has launched to equip Indonesia with necessary digital literacy and skill. This is from the basic digital literacy to an advanced level training of digital competency. So this is very essential for policy maker. So this all effort aim to assure that all members of society could gain benefit from digital society and productively contribute to the digital economy, not only as a consumer, but also as producer, inventor, and investor. So let's see at the statistic Indonesia, which has 202 million internet users and around 170 million active social media users. This is the most billion-dollar tech startup in Southeast Asia, and now as number fifth of the highest number of startup in the world. With the fast-growing startup ecosystem, Indonesia internet economy is predicted to reach 124 billion US dollar in 2025. Despite all the COVID pandemic, the Indonesian internet economy remains resilient, even in the face of global slowdown. During this hard time, we can see the e-commerce sector remains the main growth driver, increasing 11 billion US dollar in size, offsetting around 7 billion US dollar contraction in travel tourism sector. So this is a good example of digitalization in e-commerce. And Indonesia is also optimistic about its recovery of consumers and small medium enterprise to come online. And at least at the latest outlook number indicate growth despite a challenged environment. In the last 2 years, for example, our country has welcomed 3 new unicorn, and one of it is Ajaib, it's an Indonesian online stock trading platform. It took only 2.5 years to reach unicorn status. Amazing. Next slide, please. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers, this year, Kominfo are currently chairing the first Digital Economy Working Group, previously called as the Digital Economy Task Force. So, by adopting the theme, achieving the resilient recovery, working together for a more inclusive, empowering, and sustainable digital transformation. Our working group established 3 priority issues. First is connectivity and post-COVID-19 recovery. Second, digital skill and digital literacy. And third, data-free flow with trust and cross-border data flow. So with regard of the first digital economy working group, the first issue, connectivity and post-COVID recovery, and also the second priority, digital skill and digital literacy, Indonesia emphasized on the dimension in which digital people connectivity could be accelerated to quickly recover our condition from current pandemic. Therefore, we see the young generation play important role in this digital economy era by contributing and creating new solutions as well as businesses. This is very important because this provide opportunity toward more inclusive digital economy where no one is left behind, and also inclusive participation of vulnerable groups. Lastly, we need to prepare quality young talent to reduce the gap in urban and rural area. And the younger generation is also not only adaptive to the technological development, but also a pioneer in various digital innovation. Here, the young generation, they become problem solvers and triggers for innovation to be even more better. As I conclude, I'm very glad to collaborate with all T20 members and stakeholders to share knowledge and encourage youth participation and build partnership among innovators, at least to improve and innovate and solving G20 key priority area. I look forward to hearing valuable insight and continue to discuss and explore avenue for the next collaboration. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Boni, for your speech. So back again, before we start, is going to be opening speech by the Chairman of National Research and Innovation Agency, because Mr. Laksono is unable to attend to this event, so will be represented by the Deputy of BRIN, which will be presented by Dr. Mego Pinandito. For the Dr. Mego Pinandito, the floor is yours, Doctor.
Okay, thank you very much, the moderators. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning for all of you, honorable and distinguished participants, especially Professor Suhono Pangkat, the lead of the Smarter World, the Innovation Challenge T20 TFT 2022, and of course, I don't see, but of course, director of the ITB, the Institute of Technology Bandung, and also the lead co-chair of the T20 Indonesia, Professor Bambang Brojonegoro, and of course, just have the presentation of Dr. Boni Asius, the Director of the Information Empowerment, Director General of the Informatics Application, the Minister of Communication and Informatics, Republic of Indonesia, and also honorable invited speakers, moderators, and of course, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. Very good morning from Jakarta. Hopefully, all of you are in best condition and health regarding to this pandemic COVID. And first of all, I'd like to say hello from our chairman, since he not directly attend, but on behalf of the National Research and Innovation Agency of Indonesia, I'd like to express my gratitude to the organizing committee to invite us and to directly give such input of the what we'd like to do in the future. And it is a very prestigious event of the Smarter World Innovation Challenges. In the opening ceremony, obliterate the digital status quo through the technological advancement related to the presidency of Indonesia to G20, the theme of the unleashing the urban and rural digital potential. Excellencies, honorable speakers, moderator, and distinguished participant. It is also and very clear what Dr. Boni delivered his speech before, since we know that Indonesia, with the very large countries, and we have many what we call the conditions, since it is almost with the urban and the rural area where the infrastructure and digital transformation still has some challenges and also the obstacles. It cannot be as the big cities like Jakarta, Bandung, and so on, when the digital transformation, that is including the internet facilities and speed, and also the broadband facilities can be used widely and easily. You know that in this event, the innovators, the researchers, scientists, and academia, and also industry will share the latest discovery in the field of the science and technology by providing the strong knowledge basis with the confidence their works, their research, and also what they have been done before are built on the sounds of the understanding of the global issues, so that it is linked with the T20 and also G20 in Indonesia. Of course, we are believe that the anticipated to the important forum of the scientific community, this event as the platform to promote the frontier of the innovation toward the digital transformation, as well as the sustainable development goals and also the climate change mitigation, since we know that three topics are very important. And as you know that BRAIN established not so long, it is just years ago, we would like to use this opportunity to share our perspective on how to encourage more collaboration among us. Working together with the BRIDA, we call BRIDA is the Research Innovation Office in the local government in the some regions. It is very near to the what the region faces to the infrastructure and also the digital transformation activities. I think strengthening the cooperation between the business actors, the industrial partners, and also universities and innovative communities, so that we can work synergy to eliminate the network barriers and also obstacles in the digital process in such regions. Program on the such kind of how to make more and more competence in the young generation on the human resource development through the research innovation collaboration and support from the grassroots innovation, and also startup technology will continue by supported by BRAIN. Of course, we are also ready to work together to open and accelerate the digital process in such area. And through this establishment, we almost improve our research and innovation ecosystem since it is short to time, increasing our competencies, the research infrastructures, and also research funding. So in this event, I'm also improving, try to inform our capacity to support more in the global engagement and collaboration in science, technology, and innovation. That is including what the government said about the collaborative research in area of digital economy, the green economy, and also the blue economy. So such kind of activities are included the several activities with funding research on the biodiversity research, and also with southern space observation, including the satellite development, low orbital satellite communication, and also several activities in artificial intelligence and also information communication technology. Such kind of things are also conducted with this technical study with the local government, with the regions. I think it is very important also to look at the what we have in Indonesia is one data center, I mean the national data center infrastructure, implementing such kind of the common platform architecture that can facilitate it all of our government, and also maximizing the devices and also application based on open source, so that we have not depend on one or two application software, and also how to promote also the development of the technical, including the competency of the staff for the government, for the industries, for the community, to know really about the communication and also information technology in the new future. I think concerning of our effort to improve the global engagement, start from this year, we are also established several schemes of the promoting the researcher mobility, and also visiting professorships, visiting researcher, and doing together research and innovation with our industrial partners, not only with Indonesian industry, but also from the global partners. I think it is very important to do. And the other thing is, of course, we hope that several activities regarding to establishment of the BRIN, some kind of activities, including the academic and also in industrial partnership activities using the BRIN infrastructures, and also such kind of the data center, communication, information laboratory, and so on, are very open to this discussion to use and also to get more and in collaboration program. So I think it is also, I encourage to interact within the participant of this event and with the invited speakers, the presenters, and also all the participants to strengthening not only the national collaboration, but also the international collaboration and networking. And hopefully it can be finally the platform to establishment the new partnership in collaboration in research, especially to overcome the challenges and also the obstacles in the what we call the development and supporting the rural and also urban area, which still have such kind of the infrastructure and digital transformation problem. So hopefully it can be somehow the alternative solution when we can discuss with the new technology, innovative technology to them. And to conclude my remarks, I'd like to again to stressing the important roles of the collaboration in addressing the unleashing the urban and rural digital potential through science, technology, and innovation. Since we know that somehow the regions are very, very rich of the digital substance, like the scheme, the what we call the indigenous traditional, many things. So I think we are also grateful to have and work together with all of participants and you, and also BRIN ready to always provide the necessary support. I'd like to again thanks to the organizing committee. Hopefully, it can be a very, very important and fruitful event. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Mego, for the speech. The last opening remarks is going to be held by Amelia Atsania Fajri as the colleague of the Smarter World Innovation Challenge T20 TF2 2022. For Amelia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Adrian. Okay. Imagine a world where we can unlock global digital potential to build an ecosystem which emphasizes digital connectivity, cybersecurity, and empowerment. Good morning, everyone. My name is Amelia Atsania Fajri, and I am here as the co-lead of SWIC 2022. First of all, I would like to thank all the respected guests and audiences for taking your time to attend today's opening ceremony. It is truly an honor for me to be present in today's event representing our team from the Smarter World Innovation Challenge. A brief introduction. Smarter World Innovation Challenge, also known as SWIC, is an innovation competition that empowers youth globally, focusing on the theme technological development, aligning with T20's mission, especially Task Force 2. We aim to leverage 3 pillars, bridging the digital gap between income level, endeavoring accessible digital healthcare technology for all, and also empower rural communities, sustainability through transformation. As a strategic multilateral platform, connecting world major developed and emerging countries, G20 holds a strategic role in securing future global economic growth and prosperity. Resonating to the G20 spirit, there are 3 key priority areas during the Grand Presidency, which are global health architecture, digital economy transformation, and also energy transition. After seeing these challenges and opportunities, government, industries, and communities are pledging to take significant steps, and it is the right time for us too, as a part of society, to innovate and create to support the G20 agenda. Smarter World Innovation Challenge encourages global youth participation in solving global problems through an innovation competition in the international stage. We welcome all young participants from any country interested in solving issues offered by our case partners for rural and urban areas. I am forever blessed and grateful for the opportunity that has been given to me and all youth in SWIC, as this will be our commitment to youth involvement in bringing great changes for the betterment of the G20. Thank you.
Thank you, Amelia, for this speech. Ladies and gentlemen, and honorable speakers, this will be the end of the opening remarks by speakers, notable speakers, and we will be moving on to the next session of the presentation of three of speakers. So the first session will be entitled "Deep Dive of New Capital City or IKN Digital Transformation." Will be presented by Mr. Dennis H. Sumadilaga as Dirjen Cipta Karya PUPR, Head of the IKN Infrastructure Development Implementation Task Force. We will be discussion point of the first, Indonesia mega fund on building IKN. Second, potential sectors that can be improved through the technology usage. And the third, your role on recommending and building digital compass to improve the current IKN plan. So, just as a housekeeping before we get started, if you have any question for either all the speakers or specific person during the session, please type them into the chat box, and I'll bring them up during the discussion if necessary, and or will be answering the question the Q&A session after the discussion. To keep the quality of the sound and functional during the presentation, please mute yourself and when you are not sharing. So we'll be moving on to the Mr. Dennis. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So, good morning, participants, especially Ibu Reni, Rector, Prof. Bambang, and my friend, Pak Suhono. How are you, Pak Suhono?
Ya, oke, terima kasih.
And all participants, very good morning. This morning, thank you for the opportunity for me to explain about our new capital city. Okay, let me start with the background of our capital city. So a bit background for your information. It was announced by our President Joko Widodo on August 18, 2019, that he has taken a very important decision to relocate the capital city of Indonesia to East Kalimantan. Next, please. There are several aspects that encourage the decision, which are, you can see that to disperse population more evenly across the country. As you may aware that most our population are in Java and Sumatra. Also, the most important thing is to increase economic growth outside Java, and we realize that the crisis on clean water resources in Java, high rate of land conversion in Java also, and also concentrated urbanization in metropolitan Jakarta, and last but not least, a decrease in carrying capacity and high level of economic loss in Jakarta. So we are talking about flood, potential flood, earthquake, and land subsidence. Next, please. We are trying to, by moving the Ibu Kota Negara, we try to develop the three city ecosystem. First, that IKN is directed as a catalyst for East Kalimantan by encouraging future economic development through collaboration with the existing city between Samarinda and Balikpapan, hopefully created urban city triangle as a super hub, which each city has a special role in economic sectors as an innovation center, a regenerative energy, and also logistic node to encourage a rising in East Kalimantan gross regional domestic product. The most important thing of the vision of the new capital city is that
First, the Indonesian new capital cities aim to be the most sustainable city, economic driver city in the future, and as a symbol of national identity as well as a catalyst by encouraging future economic development. Technology and innovation will be one of the main keys to achieve those IKN's vision. As you may already know, IKN is located in East Kalimantan. Previous slide, please. In East Kalimantan province and divided to several development areas. For example, government core area known, the slide showing the map, please. Core area known as KIPP, IKN, no, before. The slide is before. IKN West and East and others areas. Yes, this is the location. And also to achieve IKN vision, which mainly about sustainable and smart city. So there are three visions. So for future economic development, also sustainable and smart city. IKN is planned to have many greens open space and supported by clean and sustainable energy. Let me start with the urban design principle of KIPP. Next, please. The development of the IKN will prioritize in KIPP as a future city model that is planned and designed as smart, innovative, and inclusive. But also, infrastructure and urban development aspects should comply with global principle, national and local wisdom, and nevertheless with a tangible key performance indicator to achieve the vision of IKN. So the most important thing, let me explain later about KPI of the vision of IKN. Alongside with those criteria, 9 big move, next please, and 5 transformation creates KPI as a baseline to plan and design the city by forming built environment. This is the principle urban design. So we have reflecting the national identity, assuring the urban sustainability, and creating the smart metropolis. And there are 9 big moves that will change, will transform about many transformation in terms of cultural transformation in designing KIPP. First is about transformation in nature preservation. Next, please. Is translated through the creation of dynamic urban space. Next. With minimal intervention to nature, providing ecological corridor as a contribution to biodiversity conservation and a good regional climate. Second transformation is transformation in nationalism, create a representative space of Indonesia culture on the national stage as a symbol of the progress of the nation and a showcase to the world. The third transformation is about transformation of living, create a transit-oriented compact residential area. Community-based inclusive residential design provide a space for community collaboration, promoting a healthy residential environment for living, working, playing, and learning activities. Transformation in movement through the human-oriented design and transit-based. Next slide, please. Based 10 minutes city with a reliable international standard and future-ready transportation system. Transformation in working creates an efficient and flexible collaborative work ecosystem through a high-performance, environmentally friendly, and integrated government office design. For the next, please. For the initial stage, the development of urban infrastructure will be consist of targeted land development, priority office buildings such as a presidential palace and government complex. This is already explained. So next slide, please. Next. Already. Next. Yeah. Okay, this is the initial stage. The initial stage for infrastructure development plan. The development of urban infrastructure will consist of targeted land development, priority office buildings such as a presidential palace and government, complex housing for government employee, and other basic infrastructure such as road and drainage system, water supply, and sanitation. Let me now talk about the smart city concept for IKN or KIPP. Smart concept in urban and infrastructure development should be positioned to improve the quality of life. That is the most important thing. Enhance the productivity of city while protecting the environment by utilizing ICT innovation. Smart technology is applied to implementation phase, but also in planning and design phase, such as using an integrative urban planning and building system application. Smart cities are supported by technology as an accelerator for improving city performance and quality, as well as performance indicator KPI as a city management performance and control. For smart design and construction, urban design and engineering process for IKN using the principle of collaboration work by by utilizing and integrating building information modeling and GIS model ecosystem. For smart construction, real-time monitor construction process, document management, and design construction approval. In IKN, we also propose smart technology on road construction. Next, please. Next slide, please. In order to fulfill the smart concept that previously mentioned, the road infrastructure to an IKN is planned to be built with an immersed tunnel in one of the toll access roads, as well as providing charging lines and station within the city. And also, we propose smart technology on urban infrastructure. Several smart urban infrastructure will be built in the context of optimization and integration through ICT technology, including integrated sanitation, urban domestic wastewater management, integrated flood control management, monitoring on environmental condition, and also multi-utility tunnel containing utility lines. As a closing, Indonesia New Capital City is the city of the future, especially for today's young generation. Therefore, it is highly expected that the younger generation can inclusively contribute and participate to accommodate innovation to those three key priority areas that have been mentioned before, which is about health, energy, and economic. With the purpose that the development urban area, including IKN, hopefully can be much better, much faster, and also much cheaper. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Danis, for amazing presentations. Now we'll be moving on to the next session of the presentations. We think Untitled Chapter of technology equality and accessibility through the practical applications, which will be presented by Mr. Panji Wasmana as the Director of National Technology Officer at Digitalization. For Mr. Panji, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Pak Muhammad. Good morning, everyone. Let me start with sharing my screen first before continue. One second. Okay, let me start my presentation. Okay. Please someone confirm my screen is already shown.
Yes, sir, it's already.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning to the Honorable Research Center, think tanks, and academic communities, T20 and G20 community members, tech-savvy, policy observer, young professional, and all distinguished participants who joined in this webinar. Thank you for having us in the Smart City Innovation Challenge webinar session. This is an honor for us, myself, Microsoft Indonesia, to be part of today's discussion on how accessibility strategy can be accelerated in digital transformation for G20 members. So today I would like to share about what is the meaning of accessibility at Microsoft. And I will just start discussing about what we have done so far and how we initiate this internally and sharing this to the world as our part of the product strategy and the culture of our organization. So I will start my presentation. I would like to start with a quote, one of the very good sentence from Marley Matlin. She won the Academic Award for the Best Actress for the Children Lesser God in 1986, right? And she's the only deaf performance to win this award. And the word from her is about no one should have to ask for the access. It should just be there, right? So it's a very deep statement where the content here is about everyone has a connection. Let's share something and then let's think through about this question. Have you ever been in a place that was not designed with you in mind, right? Have you ever tried working without touching or seeing or hearing your computer? So that's kind of the challenge that we have. Almost everyone is aware of someone who has disability. In fact, we are all aging and may someday share those needs. These are probably many people you know with disabilities that you are not aware of. So that's a part of our challenge, right? If you see, we are now going better when we're talking about the disability and also the inclusivity. As you know, months back ago, President Jokowi already initiated a separate organization which is focusing on the diversity and inclusivity, which is a very good notion from the government to be focused and put the position of the accessibility and inclusivity to be part of the government strategy, which is very good. And the challenge is very clear, right? Lack of the access and the reach. People with disability are often last to gain access to the benefit of technology-based innovation. So I believe this is something that might be a part of your thinking process when you develop the innovation across the initiative in the T20 or G20, right? And I would like to start by presenting what is the history on how Microsoft responding into this accessibility topic. Right? So it started in 1990, where Bill Gates announced the corporate commitment to accessibility. This is very fundamental. So after Windows 95 release, we are talking a lot about what is the next step, what is the things that need to be improved in terms of our product. So after 7 years there, Microsoft actively accessibility release. This is something that quite interesting. It's about the framework from the control point of our product development, and also at the same time, it's talking about the capability from the product and the team by constructing the consistent approach addressing the accessibility issue in our product. And then in the 2000, if you still remember, in the last update in the previous version of the Microsoft operating system, Windows, we see that kind of the narrator screen readers, magnifier on screen keyboard. This is kind of the update that we provide in our technology that helping people with special need to be interact with our operating system and leverage our technology without by limiting the barrier for them to access the technology itself, right? And then in 2000, we are starting up building the commitment to bring this accessibility issue and inclusivity into our workplace. So we hire 100 employee of Microsoft that we self-identify to have this ability. So we are working with our technology to facilitate their work environment. So for example, 60 employees use voice recognition software to helping them to mitigate their gap in the work environment because of their special needs. And then in 2000 also, we developed what we call Disability Employee Resource Group. Right. So this is a strong story where we are talking from the vision, from the organization perspective, moving into the product, and then going into our organization and motion into the operation on a Microsoft side. And then after that, all the fact from our focus area in the accessibility bring the Bill Gates accept the Lowy Barrel gold medals. This is something that's very prestigious award to some personnel or to organization who focusing into the accessibility issue. And then it's not stopping us to working side by side with all the ecosystem and then provide and contribute into the ecosystem. For example, contributing in the UI automation specification, which is very fundamental to helping in current accessibility strategy for every application in the world when they talk about the accessibility framework, right? And then after that, we are working into our base product in the retail market, which is Xbox for the gaming console. We produce what we call the Kinect technology, and this Kinect technology will allow some of the special needs person to interact with our product with the gesture, specific gesture to interact with the games without using the traditional console model. And then it's all continued, right? So we're thinking out loud that all after we work with our product and our internal organization, it is time for us to work with the other entities. We are engaged with many different organizations. We are talking about building the hackathon to gather all the idea and then talking on the many different organization channels to promote and to have this consistent campaign on the accessibility across the ecosystem. Now it's not about our product, but more into the ecosystem. We are working with the government sector. We are talking with the cities, beneficial, and then talking about how to implement the technology and helping the citizen to fill up the gap. So for example, in the Cities Unlock project here, this is trying to help someone with the deaf and then something that a condition where they have a feeling lonely because they have a very limited access to the information. So we create certain technology, what we call the soundscape. This technology will help to create kind of the specific wave of the sound that will, can be taken as a part of the direction information to the someone that with a deaf condition. This is something that we create in the 2015, and it's continue creating many different activities and helping to see that implementation of artificial intelligence, create the Xbox adaptive controller, create many different approach that we will present it to innovate and to create the consistent approach to addressing the accessibility. And again, all the things has become a culture for us. It's about building the consistent approach, not just from the technology side, but also from the culture of our organization. We are believe that being diverse and inclusive company is a huge part of the culture we are building. We believe we will better serve everyone in the planet when we represent it. So it's not just about the jargon. It's not just about the term from the government, from the company responsibility view, but now it's moving into our personal culture and it's become our DNA. We are talking about how to embrace with the people with the disability, how to create the system, how to create the product, and how to create the future that is disruptive enough to create enough secure room for our brothers, our sister, and our colleagues who have the disability issue. That's something that we're trying to do, and it's become a part of our DNA. And then how it will be implemented in our daily businesses. Microsoft Accessibility as a framework, as a guidance at the company level, will guide the engineering part and also the business function in our organization to be part of their strategy and implementation of the accessibility on, for example, experience on the device, cloud and AI platform, gaming experience, and also enhance the experience of every people with the inclusivity by implementing artificial intelligence and also research activity. And the business function also, we are being inclusive. We are provide enough room for any technical resources, technical person who want to participate and join in our company to contribute at the best, providing the business function to our customer. So this is happen across all the business unit. It's talking about building the consistent approach where we create almost 90 events last year, talking about the Microsoft accessibility. We are working together, for example, with the New College Orchestra in the UK. We are working with the pilot team to create what we call the code jumper. If you want to see this code jumper, this is some sort of demo on this. What is the code jumper? So if you can see that visual impact become a major issue when people trying to create the code, right? So we work together and build a certain algorithm, implement in the machine such a way you can configure through connected node and then create the specific logic that can be used to represent a logic of programming. So this is something quite interesting. This is like the eye opener. So everyone can start learning about the programming with their current capabilities and current disability. So this is something quite interesting, and we are working to create this as a massive project and helping others to achieve the optimal way of work. Right. Second. And one other example when we're talking about the accessibility is about how to create the boost productivity for all. This is implemented in our product. This is this very common product that you already knows. It's a Microsoft 365 or Microsoft Office, right? So in this product, we're trying to put the perspective of the accessibility to create 4 major pillars of the activities, talking about the consume content independently, create confidently, collaborate inclusively, and also create the organized efficiently, right? When we're talking about the consume content independently, it's talking about infusing the technology in many different parts. One example here is learning tools, right? Learning tools here is a strategy from us, from Microsoft, to create a certain of the feature to improve reading and writing for people regardless of their age or ability. They include tools to read text out loud, break into the syllabus, and also create increased spacing between line and letters. And they are built into the Microsoft Word, OneNote, Outlook, and many other different components. So it's helping a lot with the people that have the difficulty when they read a long paragraphs. We help them to annotate. We help them to create much more understanding when they read and also consume the content. Right? Screen readers and the keyboard navigation is a very important. How to help people navigate easily, right? And also for some people that have difficulty to read, we provide the screen reader so they can understand the context with this feature. Ease of access and setting up in the Windows 10. So if you go into the Microsoft Windows 10, you can personalize your PC, you can change the background color to highly intensive color background scenario to help you understand the context and working efficiently using our platform. Right. Other example is about the create confidently. Right. This is something that's very interesting, and for myself, it's very critical. When we creating the email, we trying to make sure that everything is well annotated, spelling and grammar errors can be avoidance. Because, for example, for myself, my primary language is Bahasa, and then the English has become my second language. So a lot of challenge for me to write in the grammar error-free context, right? So this is something that helping myself and also all the people with the second language, English, to understand and create with the confidence the email or maybe the text and also the paragraph and also the document with the right sentence there. Dictate, empower you to type with your voice. This is another feature, right? So you can use your voice to create the text, so it makes you much easier rather than just typing directly in a manual way, right? And also, if you see there's another feature, and you're using the AI technology, what we call it Tell Me. So Tell Me is actually automatic process that is scripted by system by understanding our behavior. So, for example, if you usually to put the bold color or underline color into the specific text, it's automatically will be generated based on this Tell Me function. Right? And then collaborate inclusively. This is very important. It's kind of how to ensure every document that you create have the enough empowerment to make sure everyone with certain disability able to collaborate and understand your context. For example, in each picture in the document, we provide alternative text. So if someone have the difficulty to see the picture because of the network connectivity or other issue, they still can get the alternative. right? The accessibility template, this is very important. We have the certain template that helping you to create the document across on our system to ensure you are still comply with the accessibility requirement. For example, selection of font, color, screen reader, keyboard shortcut, and also many different capability to ensure you will get the most out benefit from the documents. Right? And also we use the Microsoft Computer Vision to create many different strategy to help you organize efficiently, right? Office Lens help user by utilizing orientation and detection of column recognition to transform text on the printed page into the searchable and readable content. This is very very important feature. So if someone take a picture from your document, it automatically can be readable and it can be translated into text, so you can create and edit the specific document that you have. OneDrive, make easy to access and share file using screen reader, keyboard, and offer familiar experience with the Windows File Explorer system. So we're trying to create the consistent approach either from the cloud technology or from the on-premise technology, so people doesn't have any difficulty to access the information that we share with them. Right? And the other aspect that I would like to share about what we have done so far in Microsoft is how to connecting the word unconnected. Right? So it's a quite good story where we have that Microsoft was founded in the idea of democratizing access to the technology. And this would be enable more people to reach their full potential. That's what we believe. And a computer on every desk and every home seemed like the radical idea for a decade ago. Right? It's very difficult to find out a computer in every home. But now, over the time, we've seen that the massive proliferation of technology in the global scale. If you can see, everyone have the smartphone, everyone have the laptop because of the pandemic in the last 2 years. So we have now accelerate everything. Right? In June 2015, we updated our mission statement for the mobile and the cloud era to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. People now want to expect anywhere, anytime, high-speed connectivity. We are in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution, characterized by increasing automation and connected, which technology impact every aspect of our life. In this picture, we're showing that our CEO coming into the secondary school near Nayuki, Kenya, which is this very remote area. And Satya Nadella itself operate the computer through the technology connected that we provide to this remote area. And then we provide, and in fact, Satya did Windows 10 upgrade at these schools. So it's quite a monumental moment for us. And what we see in the challenge in the consistent way, for many high-speed internet access that we have right now, it's a bring the comfort from our own home. Yeah, we can attend courses, earn degrees, shop, and countless product form around the world, and collaborate seamlessly with the college in the different time zone. That's what we have, right? But in the fact, less than a generation ago, those things is not possible, right? But now, this is something possible. This new level of connectedness has fostered growth in our educational institution, economy, and government. But as a global population, we haven't benefited equally. Nearly half of the world population still does not use the computer. Rural areas are disadvantaged as the traditional infrastructure fails to go the final miles of the low-density region. The digital divide is real, and without bridge to the cross the gap, billions of people are left behind. That's the fact. And a quote from the Satya Nadella is quite a good quote from our perspective. With no internet access, there is no cloud access. And at the end, there is no technology delivered to the ecosystem. And this is the fact taken in the 2019, right? In the Latin America, ASEAN, and Africa, at least 3 billion people are not using internet, and 1.1 billion people's lack of reliable access to the energy. And what we have done so far in this particular area, we are promoting use of the TV White Space program. Basically, TV White Space program is leverage unused spectrum for the traditional UHF and also VHF television broadcast band, this is something that may be also the same in our country, which is this TV white space bring a potential scenario to provide internet access to the rural area. right? So this is quite interesting where we're trying to build multiple use cases such as high-speed internet connectivity, Wi-Fi access point, and also connecting telemetry Internet of Things. Because we believe, again, in the Industry 4.0, in the rural area, even though there's a rural area, there's a lot of concentration production community there. There's a lot of farmers alive in the village, and they need to have such kind of technology to help them to work better, which is talking about the IoT. And what we have done so far, we are partnering with the ecosystem to create a machine, to create the platform, to create the device to provide the broadband radius connectivity through the TV white space programs, and also create the narrowband IoT connectivity to adopt IoT scenario in the remote area. And then we create many different product package. This is something that we call the solution in the box, right? As the name is Community Learning Center partnership with GP.ik. We create one box solution providing the device, which is Windows device, access point, power source generation, TV white space connectivity, and the content digital, like the Microsoft community training, Microsoft hacking stamp, and also gamification in the education, which is the Minecraft platform. And this is something that in the real fact, right? So this is something that we already produce, and there's something that's already implemented in a certain area. So you can see this is like the one platform. When you're entering this platform, you can see that the connectivity is available, the fancy desk there, comfort environment to learn is available, and also the connectivity that required in the remote area, right? So to conclude my presentation, being diverse and inclusive company is a huge part of our culture we are building. We believe we will better serve everyone on the planet when we present it. That is why we are investing in programs and effort designed to attract diverse group of people to work here, placing the premium and creating inclusive environment in order to create technology that very intentionally include all the accessibility and diversity, and believe at its core, it is a powerful accelerant for what we do here at Microsoft. So we change from the aware on the diversity to the celebrating, acknowledge to the value, bring the few diversity as a narrow conversation, but now talking more into the inclusive behavior and diversity and activity, diversity and inclusion, and a commitment, a key business priority. So thank you very much, and I believe this is something that we can share from the Microsoft perspective, and I do hope that all the participants, all the researchers, when they're creating the idea, the innovation for the smart city, you will think about the accessibility and inclusivity on your product. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Panji, for the amazing, for the insightful presentation. So we will be directly begin to the opening question and answer. So there is, it looks like we have a few questions right now. So let me read it. For the first questions, this is going to be for the both speakers on session. In Indonesia, improving digital inclusivity in rural areas requires several layers of solution, two of which are technology intervention and capacity building or education for the citizens. How can Microsoft ensure the technology intervention in rural areas does not interfere with their indigenous culture, and it can be fully used by the society after being implemented? Okay, maybe for the speakers, there will be answer for the both of speakers.
Yeah. So who will answer first? Sorry, just to answer.
Oh yeah, maybe Mr. Panji, you can also answer.
Okay, thank you so much for the question. It's quite unique question, and thank you for the perspective. I'm totally agree about the local content and also the wisdom, right? And what we trying to see from the technology perspective, we are trying to make sure that the technology align with all this local content and local wisdom. So, for example, in many different perspective of our technology implementation, we always trying to align with what is the local wisdom that we have, right? It's starting up by translating our technology to the Bahasa language, for example, and also trying to bring, for example, when we open the connectivity to the rural area, the first thing happen is about how they leverage this connectivity. right? Even they watching the movie or just browsing or taking this as the advantage for the personal needs, not just for the intent for the business or for the personal development. So how we can create this? We're not just providing the technology. Take one example that we showing in the learning center, right? In the learning center perspective, what we're trying to offer is about the technology content and also the digital technology content itself. Technology is about the connectivity, about the power, about the place, and also about the device. But when we put the digital content with the consistent programs, it will drive the clear consumption of the technology itself. So we cannot separate this, right? And we collaborate with all key stakeholders, and we are open actually to do this and replicate this idea in Indonesia because, as you know, the inclusivity and accessibility become the issue in our country, especially in all the islands that we have. So we can create and collaborate, for example, with the Dignas to create a specific local content and deliver this as a part of the bigger context, like what we call the digital education in the box, which is providing the connectivity, energy resources, platform device, and the local wisdom content, which is already programmatic and can be consumed across the nation. So that's something that we believe on that one. And also the second thing is in the technology and the security part, we are able to create the filter technology to ensure all the content transmitted through the technologies comply with the local wisdom, pornographic and something like that can be avoided. So that's part of the technology that we can offer to ensure we are protecting the technology consumer and ensure they all positively consume the technology itself. That's my response, Pak Muhammad. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fadli, for the answer. I hope that also answered questions of participants. Maybe from Mr. All right. Maybe from Mr. Danis, do you have any comment for that questions too? This will be. Mr. Dennis, are you here? Maybe. All right, maybe we can directly to moving on to the next question, sir. All right, since we have already participant raised hand here, so for Melvin Fernie, you have the floor to ask directly questions.
Okay, thank you, Mas Adrian, and thank you for the opportunity to ask. Good morning also for all speakers. And I'd like to ask, before that, maybe I'd like to say thank you for the insightful material shared by the speakers. It was very, very eye-opening. Maybe I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Melvin from UI, and I'd like to ask, in light of Indonesia's above 60% digital penetration throughout the entire population, but in parallel, still with a low digital literacy, only 3.49 out of 10 in the index. What do you think serves more urgency, to provide accessibility or to educate first? Because I think that the rapid digitalization disruption in a digitally minimal educated society can become a double-edged sword with a tendency to be misused. And I'd like to know how has, maybe this question is more conveyed towards Pak Panji, as you were mentioning a lot about accessibility. I'd like to know what Microsoft has done in regards to so, because I think there's two sides of the table that needs to serve more urgency. Thank you.
Yeah. May I answer that one, Pak Muhammad?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Mas Melvin, for the very good question, and it's just very hard to answer actually. This is kind of the two sides of coins when we're talking about the technology and open the technology to the rural area. What we learn from our experience and in Microsoft we have what we call the digital scaling program. In the digital scaling program, we are talking about what is the culture need to be implemented in the digital area. It's talking about.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Hi, yeah, sorry, just disconnected. Yeah, so. It's just quite interesting point when we have I have the same question to be exact, Pak Melvin, Mas Melvin. Yeah. When we create this digital skilling program. We are working together with the Ministry of Information Technology. We are now working with the Kemenko Perekonomian or SINIA, and we are talking about the digital skilling. It's like the chicken and egg. If you see one from my perspective, right? Sometimes we are thinking that if you go with the digital skilling first and make sure everyone are ready, it's like the 80-20% roles, right? It's just very difficult for us because to cover everyone in Indonesia and make sure they have the equal understanding on the digital is very difficult. So what we believe and what we recommend to the government is actually let's open the connectivity first, the accessibility first to all remote area and help them to access the technology. When they access the technology, we deliver the consistent messaging in the digital skilling, talking about the ethic, talking about the security perspective, talking about how they can get the beneficial from the internet. And of course, take the education into the next level, which is trying to put the perspective of the digital skilling, digital literacy to our community and our citizens. That's my thinking, my personal thinking, and what we're trying to do also with the government and with through our philanthropy programs. We create what we call the digital skilling programs, which is a set of the learning material can be accessed online by all the citizens in Indonesia, so they can understand what is the context of the digital literacy, what is the digital ethic, and how can be implemented in daily activities. So opening the channel, let's learn together, learning by doing, and improve ourselves. That's the idea. Hopefully it can answer your question, Pak Melvin. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Panji. Maybe from Melvin, do you have any follow-up questions? Or
Actually, I do have a follow-up question, and I'd like to convey it to Pak Danis if Pak Danis is available to answer.
Mr. Danis.
Okay, I think it's okay. Thank you so much, Pak Panji, for the insight. And yeah, I totally agree that it's important to work both ways in parallel to each other. Thank you so much for the answer, Pak Panji, and Mas Adrian for the opportunity.
Thank you, Melvin, for the questions. And we'll be moving on to the next questions. Let me read it. Many companies and government institutions comprehensive upon diversity in their internal teams, gender and ethnic wise. How impactful this has been or this can in ensuring the digital intervention being established can truly answer user needs. Maybe from Mr. Pani, do you have any comments for that questions?
So this is about the race and what? Sorry, Mas Muhammad, I missed some of word.
How impactful this has been or this can be in ensuring to digital intervention being established can truly answer the user needs.
Okay, got it. It's not racing. Yeah. So I think going back into our experience starting in the 1990, right? So when we create the product, we learn from our customer feedback, right? And we see that actually in the first iteration, our product not serve the specific inclusive or disabled users, right? Which is comprised of many huge numbers of them. So we believe that by providing the right technology and the right approach to provide the inclusivity to all the users will provide the opportunity to them for doing more. So this is the key strategy that we believe, right? The consumption from the technology side will be driven by users. So by providing the right angle, the right feature for the users, will help them to engage more with our product and deliver much more result to the ecosystem. And that's kind of the consistent approach. So what we do is we create the framework, right? Taking framework from the what is the accessibility, what is the meaning from the technology side, what is the technology need to be implemented on this, and how it will be impacting to our customer, right? So that's the flow that we have, and then through this framework, we provide the consistent approach and consistent improvement to our product to answer their needs, right? It's not 100% answering their requirement because some limitation that we have right now in terms of the technology, but the most important part is the intent, right? It needs to be there. So in going in more generic, Pak Muhammad, and also for the one that asking the question, let's think through on this innovation part. When we are talking about the smart city solution that you want to build, right? What kind of application you have, what kind of the intervention you build, and how it will be inclusive in the long term to all the citizens, to all the key stakeholders, right? It's not necessary to be implemented in the first step, right? But it's become the incremental improvement. Please note, incremental improvement with the clear programs. So it's not just like the pop-up message. If someone that creating something in the social media trying to, raise the concern, but you already have the roadmap. Even though the technology is not there yet, right? You can imagine, you can see that in the movie how people implement the technology in the next round of the generation to help people with the deliverable. So that's the idea, and we believe that will help our customer to appreciate our product, to improve their productivity, and being loyal to our products. That's something that come from the Microsoft perspective, but of course, it can be reflected to T20 and G20 activities. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Panji, for the answer. I hope this is going to be answered for the questions. Maybe because Mr. Hadi is not able in here, maybe we can direct it to the next questions, Mr. Panji. So this is especially for the question is gonna be more likely for Mr. Danis, but I will ask the next questions. Despite the areas energy, health, economy, digital ethics of the users play a huge role in the ensuring of the digital solution can deliver optimal impacts. For instance, MVP or minimum valuable product may carry some bugs and the features might not be complete. Users can give the constructive critics, but instead often opt to despite the system in social media or daily chats. As a youth, how can we create the impacts for changing this behavior, especially as an innovator and researcher? Maybe Mr. Panji, you can answer for it.
Thank you so much for the question. So again, it's talking about the impact, right? And also talking about creating the open source and also the activities to be collaborate consistently. So if you see that Microsoft have the Git Foundation, which is this kind of the largest open source ecosystem in the world, there's a lot of code repository there and can be publicly and accessed for every developer in the world. So they can contribute and provide their feedback. And for the accessibility, actually, we have several repository. We are talking about different product. One example that if you see in the presentation about the code jumper, this kind of the open source technology that can be accessed and also can be improved by many different key stakeholders, which is, I believe, that the first statement from the question is about actively participating for all the developers instead of create the negative criticism, but more into the contribute and participate together to create and improve the solution, which is I'm totally agree with that. And of course, let's drive this. And I think my recommendation from the TC20, including the accessibility and inclusivity, let's build and help to create what is the right framework when we're talking about the accessibility from the smart city perspective. What is the inclusivity can be addressed in the term of the technology by leveraging the right consistent approach and the framework. We are kind of give the consistent guidance to the ecosystem to be contribute, right? Because now they know when we're talking about the accessibility and inclusivity in the smart city in Indonesia, Pak Suhono will say that, hey, we have 4 or 5 pillars, for example, right? And this is something that you can contribute. You can contribute your idea. You can improve the code that we have. So every product that built on top of the accessibility and inclusivity platform for the smart city will have the consistent approach and facilitate all the disabled people to be contribute and to be served consistently by our country and our government. That's something I'm totally agree. Active participation from the community is very valuable, and let's build this framework. And I'm totally happy to share more about what is the framework from the Microsoft and how we can adapt in the T20 activities and the G20 in the larger forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Panji. I believe there is another questions now, Mr. Panji. It will be for you. Let me read it. Okay. Digital economy has turned into popular trends recently, with the numerous digital currency appearing. However, the literacy of it has become a continuous issue, with many crimes that prey in this field. The inclusivity is also an issue, as the end of process of digital economy might not be so obvious for most of parts of society. Among these two problems, how can we, as a feature participant, can contribute in solving this issue? Maybe Mr. Panji have also any study case related to these questions.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Muhammad. That's a very good question, and actually it's already reflecting in my presentation when we're talking about our history, right? When we're talking about how we at Microsoft put as a sustainability culture of the accessibility. The concept is about the sustainability here, right? Because if you see, it took around 7 years for Microsoft itself to understand and to put the context accessibility in our product. So back to the question, this is something that we need to think of as a community, as a think tank, as a researcher, to create the consistent approach and the fundamental platform to create accessibility platform, consistent approach to the government when they create the application or services to the community, right? This is very important, and it is related to the question. It's a very good question. To make everyone contribute is a very important, again, like I observed in the last question, to create the framework and the platform. The framework is a thinking, right? Thinking process. And then when the thinking process has been done and crystallized, it's go into the technical framework. It's a kind of the API standard, a kind of the skeleton of code, kind of the service definition that can be leveraged for any innovation that created by the government or ecosystem to be served the community through the smart city program. So I believe this is something that quite interesting. If this become one of the challenges about the accessibility, our personal challenge is how we create a national platform to provide the accessibility and inclusivity for the smarter city solution in Indonesia in particular, but in the larger ecosystem, of course, for G20 and for the nation, for the world, of course. Right? So that's something that I believe that's the way to create an common ecosystem, common platform to make sure everyone can contribute. Because again, Pak Muhammad, if the platform is not there, if the framework is not there, if the regulation is not mentioned about that, and then the ecosystem cannot move. That's always the rules, right? If you want to go with that, because the inclusivity sometimes not about jargon related to the economic scale value, right? When it's not connected with the economic scale, sometimes people think twice to invest and to implement this, right? It's the same with us. At the very beginning, we are not really considering about the inclusivity. But when we're talking about the value from our product, and then now thinking out loud about how to create the framework to be consistent and ensure every product that we build, cloud, AI, like I mentioned, Office, collaboration, ERP solution, Dynamic 365, all the things have consistently approached when we're addressing the accessibility. That's the spirit, the same thing when we're talking about the smart city solution, talking about the framework for the government, when they're talking about the diversity and inclusivity context. So that's my answer, Pak Muhammad.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Panji. I hope that will be followable insights for the questions. And yeah, I believe that is going to be the last questions, Mr. Panji. So we'll be moving on to the next session.
Sure.
Thank you very much for the questions and also for the answer. This is going to be such as a valuable insights and because your presentation as well as. All right. I think there is no session about the presentation again, but this will be continue will be a presentation by the committee. So I will lead on to the committee to my person.
Okay. Mas Adrian, I think I'm gonna take it from here. Allow me to share my screen.
All right.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Allow me to introduce myself again. My name is Melvin. I'm also part of the Smarter World Innovation Challenge 2022, or better known as SWIC 2022. And I'd like to share a bit about our event that we're going to be holding from April up to September later. So the theme that we've brought this year is obliterate the digital status quo through technological advancement, in which here we are a part of T20, and we are going to be the world's largest premier forum, the G20 Indonesia's, and an innovation marketplace for use to unlock the world's digital potential through endless innovations. And I'd like to invite all that may be interested in this, since a few benefits can be obtained from joining this event, such as showcasing solutions to T20 panels and stakeholders, a total grand prize of over 6,000 US dollars, a chance to develop and scale up your products, and of course, a chance to be part of our exclusive incubation. And this year, we have brought 6 challenge areas in which we have been very, very inspired by G20, in which we have accessible healthcare, solving resistance for preventive medicine, we have inclusive literacy, we have decentralized finance and exchange, we have meaningful connectivity, and low carbon AI. And maybe a few things that should be taken into note when wanting to register for this event is each team will compose of 2 until 3 members, and can be enrolled at different post-secondary institution, university, or college. And each participant can only submit their idea in one team. So only one person can join one team and not more than one. And each finalist must actively participate in every series. And I'd like to share a bit of the timeline as well. We have opened our submission from last week, from 13th of April, and we will be opening it until 4th of June. And after that, we're going to be having our incubation period, which is going to be from July until August, as seen on the screen. And we're going to have a few assessments, and the final top 3 finalists will be invited to our demo day on the 5th of September. And I'd like to highlight again that our application period, we are still open from 13th of April until June of 4. So make sure to mark your calendars and don't miss out on this. And you can register at swicT20.com. Maybe that's it from me. I hope everyone can join our event and be a part of the movement and innovation that we are trying to build for Indonesia. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Babu, for the presentation. Yeah, everyone, we are looking forward to see you as a participation at SYIC 2022 in the future. All right. So I think that's all for the session. That's all for our session. So before we close in this session, we will have the photo session. So please, everyone can turn on their camera. We will have the last photo session before we closing. So if you may can turn on your camera. All right. We will wait. All right. I'm gonna count. Maybe everyone, if you can turn on your camera, it will be appreciated. So we can also have the photo session first. All right. All right. I will count. 1, 2, 3. And for the second part, 1, 2, 3. Okay, the last photo session before we end up this session. All right, for the last photo session, I'm count for 1, 2, 3. All right, I think we are good for now. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure being with you all today. We have come to the end of our session for today, and I would like to thank everyone who made this session possible. Thank you for the committees, and I greatly thank our speaker for today, Mr. Danis and Mr. Panji, for sharing your insight and experiences. And thank you for Microsoft as our company partner, and also thank you so much for all participants in the event. And thank you all once again for coming, and we will see you at the next session of SWIC 2022. Have a great day and stay safe, everyone. All right.
Recording stopped.